Welcome to the Marketing Stir podcast by Stirista, where we chat with industry leaders and get their take on the challenges facing the market. And maybe we'll have a little fun along the way. On this week's episode of the Marketing Stir podcast from Stirista, Kate Slivinski joins Vincent to discuss her role at Pearson in promoting continuing education and workforce skill development.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Stirista's The Marketing Stir. I am your host, Vincent Petrofessa, the Vice President of B2B Products and Partnerships here at Stirista. So good to be talking to you again. I'm riding solo today as far as hosts. My co-host, Mr. AJ Gupta, very busy being a CEO. He's got other things to do, but he doesn't miss these often. But he's missing a great one, and we'll get into that in a moment. But I just saw AJ. Why? Because he was being honored at the Silver Apple Awards, right? Who was hosting those Silver Apple Awards? Yours truly, the 40th annual Silver Apple Awards by the Marketing Club of New York. I hosted. We rocked it. We also, AJ won an award. It was a great night for Stirista overall, and all of the winners that night. Some of my friends from a variety of different companies. But I did get to see him, and I'll see him again in person because we're co-hosting our 5th annual Stirista Summit. This year it's live. Live meaning the guests who we'll have on will be in town in San Antonio, Texas in December. The only time I really like to visit San Antonio, because other than that, the weather is ridiculous. 114 degrees. No way. No, thank you. I prefer New York City and the changing of seasons. But we will be there December 5th. People can watch it live as we have some podcast guests on from the past. Some will be future guests that are going to be on there. So it will be great. We have a stand-up comedian. We have a huge guest. You know, we usually get like a San Antonio Spur. We usually get a pro wrestler. What? Weird, I know, but that's what we do. So tune into that. And then December 9th, the Marketing Club of New York, which I'm a board member on here in Manhattan, our holiday celebration, free to attend. Come to that. So it's going to be great. But let's pause just for a moment. I didn't mention who Stirista is. If you're listening, this is the only time we talk anything. We don't accept advertising on this podcast. But Stirista, who makes it possible? My company that I work for. We are a marketing technology company. We own our own business-to-business data, business-to-consumer data. We help companies through our own technology utilize that data to get new customers. Who doesn't want a new customer? Email me, vincent@stirista.com. That is how confident I am. I just gave you my email address. So yeah, and people use it. Thank you. Not for what is intended. A lot of times you try to sell me something, but at least you're listening, right? And I'm glad you're listening because we have an amazing show for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, I've met and talked. We haven't met in person. I often don't meet a lot of the guests, but maybe one day, but we talked. And you are going to love her. She is the Director of Marketing at Pearson. What's Pearson? Well, we're going to find out. Please, a warm Marketing Stir welcome for our guest, Kate Slivinski. What's going on, Kate?
Hey there.
Good to see you. How's everything with you?
Good to see you too. It's good.
Pearson, like Stirista, not necessarily a household name, but what is it? Tell people about Pearson. We want more people to learn about it because you're doing some great things. So tell our listeners about Pearson.
Okay, sounds good. So Pearson is a very large education organization and it's international. So a lot of people are familiar with it for creating textbooks for K through 12. That's, I think, what they're most well known for. The division that I work in as a director of marketing and more recently pushed into the communications and PR side is really focused on the workforce skills area. So working with learners with our GED product to get their high school equivalency diploma, all the way from what can they do after their GED in terms of, can we match them with a job, or can they take online college courses and start to get their college degree or certification. We also work with corporations to provide tuition assistance benefits to their employee base so that they can focus on upskilling and advancing their career. So there's a lot going on with the things that we're doing, and it's been quite the evolution.
That is amazing. And I want to get into all those different aspects because, a lot of the things that you're working on, it's really, Kate, like it's B2C and B2B. And so we'll talk about that. But your role, tell us about some of the day-to-day that you're really focused on.
Yeah, I think the main thing that we're focused on in our day-to-day is really just working to impact the learner and in their life. We really try to meet learners where they're at in their journey. So whether they have a couple of college credits, it's understanding, well, what else do you need? Can we get those credits to transfer to a different university? And from the marketing side, it's of course the brand exposure. We have a big gap to close for those people who are still in need of a high school diploma. And so getting the word out there in all the different states that the GED is available to them. They can go to a testing center, they can do an online proctored exam. So it's really just creating that awareness and that marketing out there from an external perspective. And then on the PR side, positioning ourselves as thought leaders in this space, because the industry is constantly changing. We've seen a lot change since COVID and things like that.
And, when I remember you and I talking, it's like the GED, the general education degree, is something that there's a variety of reasons, right, that people don't have one. And it's one of there's oftentimes it's a hardship, or there's a variety of different reasons, but Pearson makes it easy to get that GED. Because a lot of times I remember going back to my high school days, at night, there was a GED program. This is going back in 1990s. I'm 46 years old. Happy to admit it. It's fine. But so now it's just so easy to do it. And I love that. That's one of the offerings. So with that, so talk to me about those particular programs, but also, Kate, what you've seen as far as changes at Pearson in the last 10 years.
Absolutely. So with the GED itself, and with a product called Accelerated Pathways, which allows you to take your online courses for college credit, we have like personalized advisors that will help these learners throughout their journey. So a lot of things come up, like either they're having a hard time on their exams, or they're having a hard time on their practice tests with GED. We hear a lot of learners come in and math is very difficult. There's a community of advisors and of people who are there to help them along their way. And yeah, there's a lot of changes in this industry that I've seen since I started working here 10 years ago. We were so focused. I started out as a marketing manager, and we were really focused on helping universities take their programs online. And then COVID hit and everything went online. And so it's now the focus is, looking at certifications, looking at how can we help learners upskill and really just advance their career and continue to help them throughout their life. So there's been a lot of change there, but it's very positive.
Well, yeah, so that's amazing. It's not only just helping with the degree, it's beyond that. And I think it's like, all right, you have the degree, now what do you do? Let's take a step back, because it's a question that we ask all of our guests. How did you get started? You talked about a couple of positions in marketing, but was marketing always the path? How did you get started in marketing?
Yeah, it was always my path, actually. I went to the University of Kansas and got really interested in School of Journalism. I had a Journalism 101 professor who kind of became my mentor. And he, throughout the progression of my student journey at KU, I met with him in office hours, and he really coached me and advised me and said, I really see you doing these kinds of roles. And he pushed me and he believed in me. And so out of college, I started working for a PR firm in Kansas City. And then I moved to Scottsdale and started working in the ad agency world, and was there for quite a long time. And then there you get a lot of the client services and trying to understand different industries. So it's really good experience. And then in Phoenix, downtown Phoenix, started working for the newspaper, local TV station, local news website, and just promoting all of those different channels. And then I came to Pearson. So that was about 10 years ago. And I love marketing because no day is ever the same. And throughout all of that, I've gotten to learn so much about so many different industries and how to help impact people.
I love it. So you're one of the few people we've had on this podcast who actually is like, no, I studied marketing and here I am. You would think it'd be more having 170 episodes of a podcast called The Marketing Stir, but no, I love that. That's awesome. The Jayhawks, right? KU.
Yes, Jayhawks, Rock Chalk.
Nice, great basketball teams over the years. Love it. So, Kate, how has the online education world changed? In my opinion, right? You've seen, like, during COVID, people were at home and it's like, okay, let's take some courses, better my education. I have some time now further. Then you see the certifications, right? What are you seeing? And what are some of the trends?
Definitely. I mean, I think how it was prior to COVID is everyone was focused on getting like a 4-year degree, which is kind of what happened to me when I was out of high school and getting that 4-year degree. And that was the traditional learning pathway. And a lot has changed since then. People are, great to finish their GED or finish their high school diploma and look for a job, and that's okay. And we're also noticing some people just want to take a couple of online courses and get a certification and try to advance in their career and their job. Something else that I think is really interesting is, not a lot of people have a ton of money if financial aid isn't available to go spend on college and online courses. And so they're relying on their employers to give them tuition assistance benefits. And that's where we come in, because we can be that platform for those employers. And then at the same time, we help them retain their workforce and upskill them, and that improves morale. And it's a win-win for everybody. So it's interesting that, we had such a traditional learning pathway, 10 plus years ago. And then here we are, let's get a job and then work with our employer to really invest in those benefits.
Yeah, and I love that aspect of what you're doing, because it's so multifaceted, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So Pearson is working with organizations, institutions, right? You're working with institutions and working with them to be featured and working with Pearson, right? As far as different programs, you're also then helping market to the end user, right? A person who may be interested in continuing education. Then you're also working with employers. So it's like there's so many aspects of B2B and B2C marketing. Talk to us about that. Am I true in kind of those three targets?
Yeah, definitely. So we have the consumer market, of course, which is, probably the easiest to explain, just getting people to sign up and take their GED exam, or getting people to sign up for courses online that can transfer to the university of their choice. That's definitely our consumer market. And then we have our B2B market, where we partner with corporations around the United States who are our clients, and we are the platform for their tuition assistance program. So that could even be, helping people get their GED to starting their online courses, finishing their degree. We have master's certificates. And then that's the B2B side. And on the B2B2C side, we're marketing to their employees, saying, hey, this is why you want to invest. This is why you want to take part in your company's tuition assistance program. It can lead to this job. It can give you this much of a raise. It can upskill you to get your career to where you really have never dreamed it could be. So it's just, putting that message in their mind and saying, you can do this. We have advisors here to help you along the way. We're not going anywhere. And we've seen some really great success in that.
That's awesome. And, talk to us about, again, the marketing stir, right? The marketing mix. What are some of the things that you're doing, without revealing too much, right? Of what you're doing, but talk to us about that. What's working? What is something that maybe you didn't think was a channel for you, but is? Would love to understand that.
Yeah, I think that what works, some of the campaigns that I think have worked the best are the ones that are really focused on persona, or drilling down to who your audience is and trying to serve up the most relevant message to them. And so we're always testing that out. We built kind of an audience-based persona plan a couple of years ago, where we said, okay, well, we really need to target parents of high school students and get them involved and really get them the right message of how this is going to impact them. And so that's more on the consumer side. And on the B2B side, it's really kind of pushing, like, this is how much money you're going to save by retaining your employees, and this is the value it's going to bring to your company. And I think, some of the messaging is such a key point in marketing. If you can't put out the most direct and relevant message to your audience, you're going to lose them first thing. And I think also the other thing that's super impactful is storytelling. Getting those learners out there who can give testimonials of what it's been like for them. It's always challenging to start something new and to try to take new courses, especially college courses, and how they persevered through that and managed life at the same time, and were able to succeed. So those are honestly some of the most impactful campaigns that we put out there.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you think about, I kind of go back where I remember going to college, and those people who are maybe continuing their education or coming back were non-traditional students. They used to call them non-trads, if you remember that term. And they had to do it in person. There wasn't an online option. This is going back to 99, 2000. And now, even still, it's like people are navigating through parenthood and jobs and other things, or maybe they're at a current field and they want to switch that field. It makes it easier, and it's providing a service. Talk to us about, I love your past experience working at an agency. Like you said, how has that helped you, Kate, in navigating different marketing for a brand now?
Absolutely. I think, I went straight to the agency world out of college, and it's the best way I can describe it is that it's a grind, but you're so young, and it's the best time to do it because you're learning so much about client services, and not every client is within the same industry, right? So I think one of my first clients was an animal health clinic, and I learned a lot about animal health and veterinarians, and not anything I ever suspected I would learn about. And it's a great experience to understand the different industries and how you can best market, because it's not all the same. And I appreciate the time I had at the agency. It was very, very hard work. You're going in on Saturdays to do new pitches for clients, and putting yourself out there, and it's such a win when you finally get that new client. But it's been a really impactful experience in my career because it's kind of helped me on the trajectory of where I'm at now, and just understanding, the strategy of why we're doing what we're doing in the marketing world, and, using a lot of those creative aspects that you learn from an agency, where I'm at now.
Well, yeah, you hear these stories, right? Especially, I feel like everyone should work at an agency at some point in marketing, because it's the trenches. That's a great way to describe it. You just said, like, coming in on a Saturday. And I remember working at one place where it was a startup, and we came in on the Saturday and we had to put our own IKEA furniture together. I was like, what is this? But in the trenches, it makes you appreciate, where you're working on, but it's just like to get an office space to do those pitches. I think it really, really helps. You talked about campaigns. What are some of the most fun campaigns that you've worked on, whether it's at Pearson or other organizations? What was one where, like, oh, this was fun, this was cool?
I love a good video shoot and photo shoot to really get with our customers or our learners and get their stories and testimonials. I think those are my absolute favorite campaigns because those are going to be the most impactful as well. So I think working on that, and then just back from my agency days, brainstorming with the creative team on, we used to do print ads all the time, which really aren't that big of a thing anymore, but and tracking what kind of measurement we get on those. And that was super fun. And when I was at the Arizona Republic and 12 News, it was fun but terrifying. I had to go on live television to promote the Thanksgiving edition of our newspaper. And it was so exciting, but I remember my legs shaking behind this table I was sitting at. But it's, all those things that challenge you and help you tell your story and learn more about your customers, I think have been the most fun.
Kate, tell us about, everyone keeps hearing about AI. I'm like, really? How much more are we gonna have to hear about this? But it's here. And has Pearson, been adapting it into different products? Like, talk to us about that.
Definitely. There's a lot that Pearson is doing with AI right now. I think I hear about different aspects of AI every day. How I can speak to it is more how it's resonating with us and our day-to-day roles and how it works with learners. It's more about us AI is a tool to help the underserved learner. So it instills confidence in them and how to navigate certain platforms as they're taking courses or taking tests. And then also with our educators, it helps them guide them on how to educate in the best way that they can. So that's our focus on AI right now, is how it can be most customer centric and in terms of helping our learners navigate things and give them confidence and put them on the best path to success.
No, I love that. And, you talked earlier about, we were talking about B2B, and we touched upon data and Stirista being a data company. How much is data analytics playing a role, Kate, in how Pearson is marketing, especially B2B? Maybe it's B2C as well, but I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. I think that we rely on data in the marketing world to help us tell our story, right? So I'm very heavily reliant on any of the data that we can get our hands on to say, okay, well, this campaign didn't work because we didn't get a performance out of this, but this one did. And so it's where do we continue to invest that money to make sure that our campaigns are getting noticed, that we're reaching the right people, and that our partners and our clients are getting what they need in terms of retention, ROI, and all the things that they're doing. So I think data is truly just what is the evidence of why we're doing what we're doing, and it helps us tell that story. And it's the most trusted information you can find.
I agree, especially, here at Stirista, we data fuels everything that we do and what we help companies do. So we love that. Kate, we talked about the GED earlier, right? I mean, how should companies look at kind of destigmatizing the GED, right? When it comes to offering it to employees, hiring people with a GED only, perhaps? Would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Definitely. So what we know about the GED learner is that they are someone who has overcome many challenges. They have, it could have been a tragedy in the family or a loss, or suffered from anxiety or depression or a potential learning disability. And what we've seen is that they always come back to get their diploma. And that to us is just an example of their grit, their motivation, and how much they want to make an impact. And they're the most hireable people for employers to look at, because they are there to show their skill and to truly make an impact because they are so motivated. And I can't tell you how many stories of success we have seen with some of our GED credentialers in that same sense.
Well, yeah, it's like kind of what we were talking about in the beginning, where those people, they're hungry, and they're hungry to learn. They're hungry to get their education. They're hungry to do more. A lot of people that I've come across who are going back and getting their GED. So yeah, something like that, where it was, a tragedy where he or she had to now be the head of the household at a young age. And so I love that, potentially this could help continue to destigmatize that, because yeah, I think it's awesome. And I love that Pearson is helping people do it in an easy way. Kate, more getting to know you, right? Personally, we'll get to that in a moment, but there's a question that we ask all of our guests. It's about LinkedIn. It's a powerful tool to reach out to business executives, but we always love to ask this question. It's always different answers that we get. What is a LinkedIn, with your title at your company? You probably get a lot of unsolicited LinkedIn messages and inquiries. What is a message that resonates with you? And what's a message that you just hate, is such a pet peeve for you?
A message that resonates with me or will get my attention is usually like a question, like, did you know, or something like that. So I might click onto that, or I get a lot of, hey, I'm a fellow Jayhawk. And so knowing that it's somebody that I, could have gone to college with, that could open up my mind for some attention. What I dislike, is more of the spam kind of things that you might get. I get a lot of like messages about Wikipedia, and I'm like, I don't, it's people want to write a Wikipedia page. And so that kind of stuff is just not relevant to me and not going to get my attention. And so I kind of have to skip over that. It's the ones that look like more of the spam type.
Yeah. It's interesting about the Wikipedia. It's like they're writing a Wikipedia page about you.
Or your brand and it's just a little bit out there.
Yeah. And now I could totally tell. For me, like if someone, I like the college reference thing. I went to a state school up in New York. So if someone went to SUNY Oswego, shout out to SUNY Oswego, I'm like, all right, I'm listening to this person. What I always talk about in this podcast is what always fools me, right? There's like 15 to 20. If I have like 20 connections with someone and I'm like, okay, that's when I usually will click on it and then, it's right there. One of our guests coined this phrase. Maybe they heard it from somewhere else, but you get pitch slapped with a pitch immediately, right? You're just like, wait a minute. I thought we had friends in common. This is too quick.
I love that.
I know, that was like one of my favorite lines. So Kate, talk to us about what you like doing now. Kansas City, is that where you're from originally? Are you a Chiefs fan before it was cool to be a Chiefs fan? And then now where are you located? What do you like to do on the weekends? We'd love to learn more about you.
Definitely. I grew up in Wichita, Kansas, and I was not a big Chiefs fan, but met my husband in the journalism school at KU, who was from Overland Park and Kansas City. And so, yes, he was a Chiefs fan before they were super amazing, and relocated out of Kansas City to Phoenix. Worked at an ad agency in Scottsdale, and now I live in Phoenix. And I have 3 girls that are 12 and under, and honestly, for fun, we spend a lot of our time on the weekends at the soccer field. My kids are super active, super into club soccer and sports, and I'm very competitive, so it's a lot of fun. And other than that, I'm a big runner. I like to swim, hike, do a lot of those things to mentally de-stress and find that balance between, life and work. But yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, the club teams. Okay. So are the girls competitive like you are? Do they get that from mom?
They are. They would like me to be a little bit quieter on the sidelines. So I'm working on that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, my 12-year-old is definitely getting to the age where she's, starting to get a little bit more spicy, and I like to see it.
That's awesome. That's great. Did you play soccer yourself?
I didn't. I played softball and volleyball. Those are my sports. Soccer wasn't as big in Kansas, I don't think, but it's huge out here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Arizona. That's a big move temperature-wise, right? As well. Good. That's cool. Yeah, I'll be at a show in Scottsdale. I'll have to let you know about it. But this is great, Kate. Do you want to leave our listeners with a closing thought? Anything that you want them, again, further to know about Pearson? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just, when we talk about like the GED learner and wrap it all back around in marketing, I think it's just so important. We probably all have a little bit of that GED learner in us, where we've all gone through a tragedy or something that's happened in our lives that was unexpected. And for me, it's just learning that we always go back to our goals and to believe in yourself and to continue doing what you're doing and doing the things that you love. So, it's kind of that motto, do what you love what you do. And that's something that I kind of hold on to every day. And I'm super grateful and happy to be, with Pearson in this position where I really feel like I'm making a difference.
That's amazing. What great closing thoughts. And now that was Kate. So now, not director of marketing now, but you're also now in what? Communications and PR. What's your new title or a different focus? Let us hear about it.
Yeah, just as of a couple of days ago, I just updated it on LinkedIn. So transitioned into a role for Director of Communications and Public Relations, where we're really trying to focus on thought leadership and getting some of that exposure in the market. So this is really helpful, and thank you for having me.
That's it's great having you. Back to your roots, right? Originally,
yes,
right in the PR.
Exactly.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Kate. That has been Kate Slivinski. This has been another episode of The Marketing Stir. That's Kate. I'm Vincent. Where's AJ? We'll find him. But thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Stir podcast by Stirista. Please like and subscribe. If you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please email us at themarketingstir@stirista.com.